Hey, what would you say was your lowest point in your poker career?
I blew hundreds of thousands playing heads up against the best players in the world. Barely remembered it. Stevie was like, "I'll give it back to you if you can tell me what day it is." Where I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Man, you are fat and you are broke."
I think most viewers don't know that, but we used to have a big beef.
My poker ego that I had to defend at that point in time.
Yeah. That also GTO has made poker softer.
I would tend to agree.
Well, it's your fault. Then get your ass off.
I'm back on the beam. I was off the beam for a little bit and I'm back on it, I'd say. But they're probably going to say I'm like a chaos gremlin.
All right, here we go. Apestyles here joining me on the podcast today. I haven't done an episode in a very long time. Welcome, Apestyles.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on. Honored to be here.
It's pretty late for you. It's morning for me.
Yeah.
It's 11 a.m. for me. It's 2 a.m. for you, yeah. So
almost 2 a.m. for me, almost 11 for you. I was gonna ask you. So you've had your coffee now. What's a German breakfast like?
I have my coffee here. Typical German breakfast would be eggs, something with eggs, boiled eggs, fried eggs, scrambled eggs, cheese. We like bread, obviously, bread with butter and some cheese on it. Some cut tomatoes with mozzarella. I think it also depends about East versus West Germany. There might be some variations, but I think it's a very typical breakfast. I'm not much of a typical breakfast person, to be honest. I'm not really that hungry in the morning, so for me, it's maybe just a banana and then just a coffee, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. How about you?
I like breakfast food. I like breakfast food a lot. Like I like, bacon and eggs and everything, but I don't actually recently I haven't been eating breakfast. I try to keep my food in this 8-hour window.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying yet another thing to lose some weight. Because I'm definitely packing some extra pounds.
But you in general is someone I would consider, like when I saw you, when I remember, obviously you're a big person, but you might have a couple of I also have a couple of kilos too much, so I also need to take care of that. But you in general is someone I would consider you have a very strong, like, overall body composition, right? Like, I don't know, strong bones. Like, I don't know, you just look like a strong person. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes people are just they're just I would consider you big, not fat or anything. You're just a big person, strong person.
That. Actually, when I was much younger, I was always a little bit self-conscious about being heavy.
Yeah.
And I had jaw surgery where my jaw was broken, so I couldn't eat anything but liquids for like 6 weeks. And my mom made me like chicken milkshake, chicken smoothie. It was terrible. But after that, I had no appetite and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to lose weight. And I got down to about like 190, 180, and I'm 6'2". And my friends had to intervene. They were like, dude, you look weird. Like you're meant to be, you're meant
190,
to be
180 kilos or pound, because we have different
pounds.
Okay.
I don't know what the conversion is. I mean,
I think it's just half.
Yeah, it's roughly around 180 kg. Yeah, like 81 kilos.
81 kilos, but that's pretty reasonable for.
Like you said, I'm meant to be a big dude. Like,
yeah.
And
how old were you when you were 80-ish?
Like 21, 22.
But would you consider this like you were overweight with 80 kilos?
Oh, no. That was when I got too skinny.
Too skinny. Okay, we got okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That was like I lost like around like 50 kilos. And after not really eating very much. And again, my friends, I looked like, an apple on top of a pencil, just a giant head and too skinny. So I realized at that point that I'm actually meant to have a little bit of extra on me. And my body type is actually meant for lifting heavy things, not for running,
I bet if
So
you go and hit the gym and you lift weights, you will see very fast progress within the first couple of weeks already, right?
yeah, like it's been a while, but I used to be really consistent and I was actually into powerlifting. Like I almost got up to 400 pounds on bench press, but I couldn't touch that now.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I wouldn't even try. I'm never gonna try to get that strong again.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there was a point in time when I went to the gym and I loved it. Like I loved burn and pushing myself. And I'm now I get in the gym and I'm like, where is that guy? I
Mm.
don't know. Like I want to get out of the gym when I'm there. But I'm right now to get back in the gym because I had surgery. I'm doing, you know, focusing more on form and
Mm.
uh just making sure that I don't hurt myself, getting older. So
But do you think, because you just said, when I was in the gym, I had this fire, the burn, and now you're in the gym. Have you lost that spark, or was it because of the surgery, or just in general?
well, it's always tough to go back to something when you've once been kind of like good at it or
Mm.
strong. So what I don't know, are you like this? I'm kind of somebody where I'm either really into something where you flick the switch and I just love it, or I'm not really interested at all. Like I'm kind of a all or nothing kind of person.
Yeah, I can see that part. For me, I like to have my routines in terms of workouts supportive to my life. So I give
Hmm.
you an example. For example, and we're back. I like to have my workouts supporting my goals in life. So let me give you an example. Back in the days, I mean, I'm still doing it. I was doing crazy amount of burpees, just burpees,
Ooh, those are tough.
60 minutes, uh, 10 burpees a minute, 600 burpees in an hour. Or I would
Oh,
do, yeah, yeah.
that's a
I
lot.
would I would even record them, post them on Instagram. I with my coach, doing the Death by Burpee challenge. I understand some people say there's like, oh, burpees aren't that great. It's like when I was really at my peak, I was really fit. When you can do so many, I was really fit. I wasn't really
Oh yeah, I was
muscular,
like, you have to be.
but the
Yeah.
reason I was doing them was because for me, it's very similar to poker, where it's very repetitive. You have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I like to train my mind and my body also outside of poker that supports me in my poker career, because it's not
Hmm.
like you have to do something fancy, you don't have to do something crazy, and you sit there and you have 50 minutes more to go and you just do the same one simple stupid workout or exercise for the next 50 minutes. And right now, for example, because the last 1 or 2 years were also pretty rough for me, life happens, you have some tragedies, and I'm also now getting an age where you plan a family and you have other burdens to carry. I like to do workouts
Hmm.
with a vest. So I go run with like a 15, 20 kilo vest, which kind of resembles life to me, right? Sometimes, yeah, you might want to go for a run, but you have additional obstacles. You might want to become a poker player, but it's not like you sit down and play poker. You have other challenges in life. It's like very often your life goals, you have other challenges, other obstacles to overcome, right? You have additional weight on your body and you still have to manage to push through. And I like to have this kind of like similarities in my workouts
I like the
with my
analogy
life.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The extra weight you're carrying and you're
yeah.
still running with it.
And it
I
also
feel
gives
like I
me
already
like
have it naturally.
I think it also is a bit of like an extra motivation to push through or to do it in the first place, because I'm not just working out, but I'm also preparing for life, in a certain way. And
Ooh, I like this. I like this.
and
It's
then
getting me a little bit pumped. Yeah, I like
yeah,
that.
just picking something that, whatever it is, maybe I don't know, you're into bicycling or swimming, and swim, you have to swim through rougher waters, and uh yeah. But like I want to go back to what you were saying, that you're not really into it. Is it that you just think you suck and you have to start much lower, and that demotivates you? Because when you're really into lifting and You really enjoyed it. What stops you from, apart from the surgery, but also maybe the time before?
Yeah, like pushing myself just like you, like doing more all the time and being like feeling like I can't do something and then doing it, like pushing myself that way inspired me. I'll tell you what, the truth is, this is like first world problems. I've got a home gym and
Mm.
it's not and like it's not super decked out and I had a personal trainer and he's all about going real slow and working perfect form and all this and for some reason it uh it's not hyping me up,
Hmm.
and I was thinking that maybe I need to do something else or actually go to a gym. I think for some reason being around other people, I mean this might be like ego or something, but I want to, I don't want to like put in a weak set in front of other people too. So I need
But
to figure
where,
something else out to get the motivation.
but where's that Apestyles that also grinded his way up through different stakes? You didn't stay at poker and started crushing 1Ks and 5Ks, right?
No, I
So
didn't.
what changed that you were able to get up, sit down, play $10 tournaments, $20 tournaments, $50 tournaments, but then you struggle playing, let's say lifting the equivalent amount of weights in the gym, where you say, okay, I'm not lifting $5,000 tournaments, I'm lifting $20 tournaments, which would be the equivalent to a smaller weight. Where's the difference there? Why can you
I
not?
like that. And it makes me like one of my favorite wins I ever had was at the end of a scoop where I was down like 30 or 40 on the day. I had randomly registered a $20 tournament and I was one tabling it and I ended up winning this $20 tournament for like $4,000 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why I registered it, but it was probably just for screen space. But I I was proud of it because I didn't just give up. I was like, I'm gonna treat this $20 tournament like like anything else. And winning a tournament always feels good. So the idea that you just brought up, who's that? Like, where's the guy that came up, with $50 deposits and built from the ground up? He's still in there somewhere, hopefully. So I like that idea, and it's actually it's inspiring to me. I love that.
But back to that question, what
Where
is
is
it?
he? Yeah, I don't
Where's the
know. Where'd
difference?
he go?
What is it? Are there layers of something that um, stops you from going
Part of
there,
it
or?
is the a good way, like if I'm being nice to myself, a good way of putting it is that like I'm kind of happy with who I am to some
Mhm.
degree. And uh, when I was younger, really pushing myself, I had these. I wasn't satisfied with how I looked or anything like that, and now my motivation for working out is more health.
Mm.
Just trying to for longevity, but for some reason, just being like, "Ooh, I want to live long," doesn't really push me that hard in the gym.
Yeah, of course.
So so uh, it's a good question because it's about trying to get that fire back,
Yeah.
and be just as excited to do. Um, as long as it's pushing myself, as long as I'm, feeling like a little part of me wants to give up, and I push past that. Um, that's where I want to get back to again. Because uh, what I remember a lot of the times when I was in the best shape of my life was surprising myself. By the way, I'm still going crazy over 600 burpees. Oh my gosh! But yeah, that's crazy. but but yeah, I mean, I could probably do 20 in an hour max. Um, but yeah, I think I need to get back to finding, yeah, that inspiration and that grind from the beginning. Because actually, one of the best things about starting over again at things is that the learning curve in the beginning is should be steep. Like, uh, my gains will be uh, pretty quick, right, in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I need to remember that. Rather than compare myself to me when I was like at my best, compare myself to where I was last week.
Yeah, no,
I
of
like
course.
that.
Did you have a similar time in your poker career? If you think about your journey, whether it was more at the beginning or even let's say when when you reached your peak, where you had a similar time that you really wanted it to play more, but maybe you lost motivation, you lost the spark, similar where you are with your gym journey right now. Was there a similar time,
Yes.
and how did you get out of it? Did you manage to overcome it, and how?
Um, there have been a couple of lulls. A while back, I mean, I've told this story before, but like this is actually right before I got in really good shape and had a really big run in poker in like 2009. I just had this moment where I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, you are fat and you are broke. Like one or
Okay.
the other, but not both, not
Yeah.
both. And so something clicked in me, and I don't know. It wasn't just that, but I put everything I had into poker and playing. And I definitely have had to drop down in stakes a couple times in my life, and remember that I'm playing that I just like to play. I like the mind game.
Hmm.
But there definitely have been time periods where I was going through the motions playing poker, or even almost wanting to bust to be done with the day. And
Mm.
whenever I'm like that is when I need to reevaluate and get back into it.
Yeah. But how did you
Have
over?
how have you have
How
have
did
you
you?
ever had? Oh, go ahead.
Mm,
Sorry.
no problem. You mean lost motivation for it, or?
Yeah, I mean, you've been in the game for a long time as well. Uh, for me, like how a lot of the times, see, I think you were gonna ask me basically what exactly did I do when I was uh, to get out of my slumps.
Yeah, just in general,
Usually it
maybe
was
also you have been coaching people, right? You have been
yeah.
right. So because I think it's something a lot of the viewers resonate with, where I hear that a lot. Ben, I'm not motivated. I want to become financially independent with poker. I want to make it, but from time to time I'm not motivated, or I tilt off my stack and then I lost all my winnings. Like, how can I avoid this? Like, on one side they really want it, but then the actions speak a different language. What is, based on your own experience when you have been in a similar situation, wanting to end the day, or also working with students, what is it that helped you or others, if you think about those times?
Well, you answered the question kind of. Actually,
Okay.
working with students forces me to
Mm,
stay ahead of the game.
okay.
Uh,
So it's like
I
a
think that
form of
I've
accountability that you have then for yourself.
yes,
Okay.
yes, study groups, things like that. Also, I've always any new tool that there is, any new course, anything like that. Like I've got Razor Edge, like I get it because I like the process of learning, and I feel like
Hmm.
any little bit I can get that makes me better. Or it's like it's not really studying to me. It's like, ooh, I got this new trick I'm gonna try against people. Um, so I think that's yeah, having the other things, having to have written like writing books was a pain in the ass,
Oh,
but I
you wrote the
learned a
book,
bunch
yeah?
from the yeah, a couple of them. I wrote sections of a book.
Okay.
They're old. They're very old. They're pre-solver. But
Okay.
yeah, writing that like helped me like having to justify and explain myself helped me
Mm.
learn a lot. The accountability of teaching other people, and then sometimes even I'll get a student that's really pumped about playing, and they'll inspire me, or vice versa, where I have to be excited to play, and when I'm teaching, I have to be having fun and communicate my excitement. So I think all of that has actually kept me in the game, doing all the other things that I do, um, and the other thing is just really just thinking about it like, hey John, you get to you get to play a game for a living. You've
Yeah.
been doing it for 20 years, and just realizing that you know, that it's lucky. And yeah, some days it does feel kind of crappy when you lose money, or like, you know, things don't go the way you want. But overall, I usually just like counter that with gratitude for the most part for where I'm at.
Mm. I mean, gratitude is a big word in these days, especially people just telling you just be more grateful. Like, how do you then practice gratitude? What is it that you think of or that you do that you maybe can also share as an advice to others? How can you be more grateful? I find this is such a loaded question and difficult question because I think
Yeah,
we
it
all
is.
understand it, but then it's like just try to be happier, you know? But how?
Yeah, I'm with you there, and I also do think that there is such a thing. This is a little off topic, but called like toxic positivity. You know, like if someone's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
going
yeah,
through something shitty, and you're like, but just be happy, be
yeah,
grateful. Like that's not really helping someone that's going through something.
yeah.
For me, it's more just like, man, it's more like logical too, where it's like, okay, man, you just had that bad beat, you're pissed off, you're stewing over it, or you know, I made a mistake. And it's like I have a decision point where it's like I can keep beating myself up over this, or I can focus on the tables that I have left, you know.
Mm,
Uh and I do try to use gratitude there, where it's like you're sitting in this office in your home, you know, and I remind myself that I have had accomplishments and things like that. um but you know, I get out of gratitude all the time, you know, like where I'll be grumpy about things, or things won't go my way, or especially like I've had some, you know, some big losses, and I'm not, and like, I mean, I do use gratitude though, in you know, like for instance, my dad passed
oh, sorry
a
to hear
year
that.
or so ago. it, you know, it's the age that it happens, but we were close, and it was hard. It was hard for to watch him decline. And I guess in that case, the way I use gratitude is thinking about the fact that I had a great dad, and
Mm,
that I try to just, I have a lot of good memories, and that's how I use it there, you know.
yeah,
um so but yeah, some, I think it's really a matter of perspective, you know, like, uh when I'm not in a good mood, it's usually because things aren't how I want them to be,
mm,
right? And just getting better at accepting things as they are, and uh and realizing that things are all right, and it's really just a matter of my perception. That's
yeah.
pretty helpful for me.
What I notice when I have this kind of conversation about things like gratitude, you can see for yourself, but it happens every single time. It's hard to explain it. It's hard to, you know, it's not like, okay, do this, do that, do this. A, it's very individual, right? And B, it's also it's a loaded question. It's a difficult question. What I'm trying to say is it is very individual and different for everyone. But I think the
Hmm.
most important part is this kind of conversation you have with yourself, right? You have a difficult moment and then, okay, let's focus on um the things you just mentioned, change the perspective. It's almost a bit like a self-talk, I would say, from my own experience.
Oh yeah,
And what I
for sure.
learned from working with people that I really look up to is especially this part where you're aware of what's going on, even though you might still feel absolutely demolished from that bad beat and you had these expectations. Being able to um I call it like it's a three-step process. For most people it's a two-step process, right? They have an event and then instantly have an impulse, they instantly have a reaction to it. There's no gap, right? It's like bad beat, I tilt. In life, red light, I yell, or someone says something, I yell back. But it's what you just described, and I find this extremely interesting. Is something happens in poker, And that is where the work starts. Like, okay, chill down, Ben. You got this. Or as you said, hey, I'm Apestyles. I already had a lot of accomplishments. Let's be grateful. I'm here in an office. And this is where we have another step before we take action. And usually this part really uncharges it. I don't know even if it's because it feels so charged. We feel so much thing that we want to get out, and usually this getting out is tilting, blowing off our stack, being angry, saying something that we might regret later in a conversation. But just this
Yeah.
phase going through is like, okay, now we're able, okay, even though we're still grumpy, we're still angry, we can still execute our A game. At least this is what I
Yes.
noticed also with pro players and people who made it. Their difference, they have a 3-step process versus those who don't, they have a 2-step. It's always event, impulse, event, impulse, event, or like, let's say something happens and they immediately act on it. And then
Yes, and I
usually,
think that go ahead,
go
sorry.
ahead, sorry, no, it's okay.
Oh, well, what I think that you're also saying is there's a second in the three-step process. There's a second where you're almost have to be an observer and you
Mm-hmm.
take a step back and you look at you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I can feel these emotions right now. And if you can slow down and feel them at first, and even let them out a little bit, because I'm never not going to be upset when I lose a big pot in something big.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit me for a second, right? But then I'm dealing with all that emotion, and I look at it, and I'm like, okay. Then from there, I can try to react in a better way
Yeah.
than usual. But there's a step where I have to look at it instead of be totally in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and then what you're talking about, which is uh, like cheering myself on a little bit, positive self-talk rather than continuing to go down. Because like if it's easy to go the other way too, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm so unlucky, da, 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 da. And I've definitely done that 1,000 times,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Of
and
course.
it's just not the way to go, right?
Mm.
Um, and not every time I don't catch it every time. Sometimes I'm just grumpy and not, But I do think that that's what my skill is with as far as mental game goes, which is I get hit by whatever it is, I look at it, I talk myself out of it, and then I'm uh back to normal within a couple minutes.
Mm.
That time period isn't very long that I'm pissed off and in self-pity, poor me.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah.
think even if you still have some negative emotions within, I mean, this second step, at least from my experience and the way I also seen it with most of my students, is not they do the self-talk and then it's immediately perfect again. You still hold some negative, but you can still then continue playing your A game, and then usually within 10, 15, 20 minutes or 60 minutes, it will evaporate. And I think it's also a good approach for life in general. And yeah, that's just from my experience how I noticed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that there has to be uh you know if you let every little thing at the poker table really affect your emotions that much,
Yeah.
it'd be really tough to survive in this game for a really long time,
You're not gonna
um
survive at all. I think it's almost
yeah,
impossible, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What would you
I
say?
had a question for
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
When you're by yourself, are you
When I'm
because see,
what?
I feel like when you're by yourself playing rather than streaming,
Yeah.
I sometimes being on stream helps me sometimes get out of it quicker
Mm-hmm.
a little bit being in front of people. Sometimes when I'm by myself, I'll swear and yell and punch hit my table and stuff, and like
Yeah.
I definitely have done stuff like that. I mean, I'm not it's not necessarily advised, but I do it.
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think it's a big problem because this does not have to determine your actions. We had a lot of poker boot camps. I've seen other top pros play. They swear, they stomp their table, but you can still play your absolute perfect A game. Obviously,
Yeah.
it always depends on the frame, right? If you're with other people in a group, you might jeopardize your relationship, so your actions have certain consequences. But when you play
Mhm.
poker, your action is to execute your A game, and if you swear while nobody's listening and stomp a table, I don't think it's a big. Can you work on that and maybe try to be more mindful of it? Of course, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is just something that most players misunderstand, because sometimes when I stream and they see me complain about an opponent, they say, "Oh, Ben is tilting." Like, no,
Mhm.
I'm not tilting, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm still playing my A game. I can still what this
Mhm.
motherfucker, like what this fucking idiot, and all my actions are still very rational. And this is, I think,
Yeah.
where a lot of people misunderstand, and they're not even aware of this 3-step process. They think what I'm saying is my action, but it doesn't matter. I can dance and wear a dress and make a handstand and still make it does not matter in this situation, right?
You're getting
Of
it out too. You're kind
Yeah,
of getting it out when you do that.
yeah,
Like
and
and
yeah, exactly.
like and I also have a bias sometimes. There's something if something beats me in a pot, I'm like, "Oh, you're terrible." You
Yeah,
like, even if it and then I have to then like 10 minutes later I'll be like, "Actually, their play was fine. I was just pissed that I lost."
yeah, and that's
But
also fine.
like,
That's of course.
yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I remember, I don't know, I think most viewers don't know that, but we used to have a big beef. And then you came to me, in which I had a lot of respect
Yeah.
for, by the way. And I feel a bit bad that I never really acknowledged this afterwards. I'm not sure if I did, but I think I never
You
did.
did.
That I said to you, "Hey man, I had a lot of respect for you coming up." I think I was with the Germans. We were in Las Vegas playing the 10Ks in the Poker Go studio, where I got
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely demolished, by the way. Um,
Those games
and
were good too.
yeah, they were very, very good. But I was running, like, I was also recording. I think I bubbled it once and soft bubbled it twice, and I just bullet after bullet. And anyway, complaining
Yeah.
here. And then we had a break, and you came outside, and I was there with my German buddies, and you came up, and everyone was looking at you. I was like, what's going on here?" And then you just, "Hey Ben, by the way, I'm sorry for what happened." And yeah, I thought that was a very noble move, something that's not really happening in these days,
Oh,
which
thank you.
which I which I find. I don't know exactly what happened back in the days. I think there was something on Twitter, and
It was something very stupid.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I think something with my notes, but I think most people don't know that, and I can understand where you came from. But I have two different. I had two different. I still have two different label systems. So I use a label system for recreationals, and I use a label for regulars. So a lot of the labels I have for regulars, I also use for recreationals. And I think someone tweeted and said, "Oh, Ben has Apestyles labeled as fish or something like this."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
Well, the thing
"What is
is,
going on?" And I think you engaged in that, and you kind of shit on me for that. And I was like, and it was the beginning of my social media days. I was like, "Why is he not messaging me when he has a problem with me?" And I was like, "What's
yeah,
going on?"
I remember it like pretty well. Someone said that you had me fish tagged, and it was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That I was in a like after a losing
Mm.
Sunday, and I didn't know you very well, and I had my poker ego that I had to defend at that point in time,
Yeah.
and then like uh, I wasn't. I don't like engaging in stuff like that, even though sometimes some people really get off on it, or even it's like their thing.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt bad about it, and I'd watched you stream a few times, and I'd seen some of your YouTube videos, and I realized I like what you stand for. I agree with the majority of your perspectives, and I think that you put out a good product in general. And so, yeah, I think that's what I said is I apologize for my behavior and let you know
That's
that I that I had a lot of respect for you, and that I that I was out of line there.
Yeah.
And I was really happy that you accepted my apology and were actually, very gracious about it. So thank you.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, and for me, it was just weird. It's like, hey man, I really don't want you to think that I tagged you as a fish, but then I would have to explain my label system, and it would give up so much of my
Who cares?
of my edge, because I was like, it's fine, like it's gonna go away, right? But
yeah. But also, you can think whatever you want about my game. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah,
like that. In reality, that's anyone's prerogative, is to think what they want about other players. And yeah, ever since streaming, I've actually, like, I used to have very detailed note systems on PokerStars, and ever since streaming, I'm like, I don't know if I want to have notes, because then if they're there, people can see them and use them. And but yeah, so, like, there are so many regs that if I see something, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's something I can possibly exploit. Or
yeah,
I'm always looking for. I'm not looking for what people are doing well.
yeah.
I'm looking for things that I can take advantage of, for the most part. So, I'm sure that you might have had a note on me doing something bad too. Who cares?
Of
So,
course.
like,
I even
so,
have notes on European who I see who does something bad against me, and I want to keep it in mind. Like, and I think he's one of the best players in today, and he for sure. Every rec has also notes on me, and all of us have leaks, so that's completely normal.
Yeah, I mean, European, I'm like, C bets too much, folds to 3 bets a lot. But
Yeah.
but he's but he's also very, very good, very, very smart, and the kind of person that if you adjust versus him, he'll adjust back versus you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
he's not someone I like to play against at
No,
all.
of course not.
I would view him as up there as one of the online greats for sure.
Yeah. And this is also something that I am always trying to pay attention to, not show the notes on stream, because this can really get me into trouble. Almost getting canceled, because back in the days when I was playing Sit and Ghost, and this is something I learned from Tony Robbins, that the language you use can have a really big impact. And I kept doing the same mistakes over and over again against certain players. So I had a note, and I would read through it, and or wouldn't really stand out. And maybe it's just me, right? I see, okay, Ben does something wrong. I try to learn something, and then I try to change it. And I came across, I don't know, was it in a book or an interview or podcast or whatever. And he also says that the language you use can have really big impact on you. And also swearing, like, he's someone who can be very using, fucks and all of this kind of stuff. And then I started implementing this to my note system about myself. It's like, Ben, you fucking mega mongo idiot, stop bluffing this guy. Or this guy is the biggest mega beluga whale calling station, don't bluff him. Do I believe that this guy is over? I also have this note on regulars, and I still think they're good players, but just in this one spot, they hate folding. And somehow, especially then when the era with solvers started, and also back in the days, we also already had solvers. It was Sit and Go Wizard, Hold'em Resource Calculator, but for us it was more pre-flop game. So you had an optimal pre-flop pushing range, and especially for Sit and Go, it's like, oh, Nash tells you should go all in with 70%, but then this guy on the money bubble calls King 9 off, and I kept pushing. So I said, this motherfucker hates money. He doesn't like folding. Stop pushing. And I would really put these as a note, and so I remember the stronger the wording I would use, the more I would remember the spot. I was like, okay, I need to like limp or min raise or just push less hands. And that really helped me. You're deep in a tournament and the money jumps are massive and you have to play post-flop. This is very often where tournaments are won or lost, but most players have no idea what to do and lose a lot of money without even realizing it. And you don't have to guess anymore. We are rolling out a massive update and our students are already crushing with that, and it gives you an unfair advantage. Our exclusive ICM PostFlop Masterclass. We've broken down the most critical spots and packed this class with a ton of
high-value exploits. We're also introducing our brand new solver interface where you can study specific spots and different board runouts. But we aren't just handing you random solver outputs. The premium video content dives deep into the why. You will truly understand the underlying logic of late-game post-flop play, plus you can actively practice different positions, stack depth, and tournament stages, making high-level studying genuinely fun. So stop leaving money on the table when it matters the most. Click the link in the description and join our Champions tier that grants you access to our brand new ICM POSTFLOP Masterclass. And if you don't like it, within 2 weeks, you get your money back.
Right? And I would use really extreme language against myself, like, you know, and sometimes I would also call this guy, like, this guy is absolute fucking shitnit, never bluffs, don't hero call, because I kept hero call, and I wouldn't learn.
Yes.
So I would start using those terms to really make sure, and I would try to get myself a little bit of a competitive edge there. And I had pages of notes on my opponents. Maybe one day I reveal it as a book. Sometimes I go through these notes. It's absolutely freaking hilarious. Yeah, but you know, you gotta.
It's kind of related. It's also like a little bit related to what you were saying about um getting something out too sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
what first of all, you know, reminding yourself like, do not bluff this motherfucker. You know,
yeah,
and then also there's when you're pissed off, typing a little thing about this guy, uh, maybe makes you feel a little bit like it helps.
yeah.
One time, you know, on Poker Stars, you used to be able to share notes, right? And like this guy had a stable. I think it was actually Iftari, the heads up sitting guy. He had a stable, and they all shared notes. And I was like, oh, I want to. And so I decided to get their notes that they were sharing, and they sucked, man. All their notes were like slow roll this, fucking like it was like actually a lot of like racist stuff, and like I was like, what the hell? Like I thought that I was gonna get like all these like really insightful things, and even like the strategic stuff was terrible. It was like four bets, ace king. Thanks. Like, um, but yeah, that was just kind of like a random story there. But like, I that that makes sense to me. I definitely have stuff like that as well, and um, oh, one other thing though about those guys on the bubble who you know call with like stuff that's like notches wrong. Have you ever heard of I was listening to an Ike Haxton thing one time where he was talking about they solved the prisoner's dilemma for game theory, and it's not actually always steal or always you know tell. It's actually this thing called tit for tat, where you
Hmm.
do what they did, and basically if you play against the same player again and again in a sit and go, occasionally you are supposed to spike call them so that they don't shove on you as wide. Um, but but I'm sure that like you know some players just always make that call.
You funny that you bring that up. Oh yeah, I have it. I had a list of people I spite called, and I wanted to. Wait, I'm gonna show this to the viewer. Let me just so for context, so you guys know that I'm not talking smack. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna show you a screenshot in. Yeah, this is something I was doing as well. To see, let me share you this. So you see, that was from 2015. This is just like a snapshot, and I was keeping track of who I spite called on the bubble to always make sure which other X I do spite call. So next time I'm observing, okay, do they start getting me walks, or do they just not care? Right?
Yeah,
So I had a
I see my
logbook
boy
when I was like,
Ellie up there.
this is like yeah, I was keeping track of this. And
That's really smart though,
yeah.
right? So
I'm also very
that's really
curious.
good.
I'm also very curious, like, when you deviate from that behavior, that is considered the Nash equilibrium.
what do people how do people react to you? Because I notice some people you keep bluff catching, and they just keep bluffing. And then there are people that I remember I would do one big bluff, right? Some of these GTO bluffs could look like absolute punts, but it was a normal bluff. And they could start calling everything. It's like they never fold. I remember we had study groups, and then after 3 or 4 years, because some of the recs I know, I was like, okay, let me try bluff this guy again. Because for 3 years, every single pot I had it against him, I would bluff again, call, king high, ace high. I was like, all right, this guy really, I have the note on him, crazy bluffer. It's just, and this is very interesting to see how certain people react. And I think you got to be very careful because it is also depends on the stage. For some people, it's easier to make a big bluff in the early stage, but then they might never bluff in the late stage, right? When you run deep in a big tournament. And yeah, I just find it a fascinating, almost, field of research to study human behavior.
Yes, yeah, you're almost talking about game flow more than like in some ways more, you know, a pattern of value to bluff, and also what notes they have on you, and people, you know, sometimes forget to make the new adjustment, you know, like because people will adjust to you and then you realize that they've adjusted to you, and then it's makes me not want to play against you, knowing that you're that aware of those sorts of things and people's patterns, you know. I think I actually try to make a big deal on stream of my bluffs, but the majority of my bluffs are like straight up GTO, or I believe that they are in the moment. You know, I'm not just like, like ha ha ha, or just, you know, bluff. Like I have reasons for my bluffs, but I do try to draw attention to them because, well, people like them, and I think I also get more action from doing that kind of thing too. But man, I've been getting called so much recently by the goofiest stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I think it's also just with the age of social media and broadcasting, and that's why I fully stand behind my claim. Obviously, you can disagree if you see it different. That also GTO has made poker softer, which because you still play in an environment where you make money off people's mistakes. And if you now deviate to a style that ignores that, you will lose money. And this is just something that the style that you're trying to play just doesn't exist in reality, this GTO style. And you also can't really get close to it. Just imagine, because right now I'm working on a ICM POSTFLOP. I work on a lot of ICM POSTFLOP stuff. I would probably give us all recs, let's say the best recs, maybe 3 or 4 out of 10. And these are I'm talking about the top pros. We're just so far away from being able to play what is considered optimum. Yeah, okay, we have a good idea, you know, to see bet in certain spots, how to maybe check raise and defend on the flop. But let's be honest, like so many different turns, the sizings we're supposed to use, the crazy check raises, the turnover bets. Yeah, we get some of them right, but very often we're also still very far off in terms of frequency, in terms of block bets, in terms of downsizing, in terms of, and then don't even get me started on the river, because you bring all these flawed strategies to the river, and this is where it just all gets completely mixed up anyway. And and then you play against opponents who do make a little of mistakes. And I understand some people did see it different. It's completely fine. It's just the style that I like to follow, and I've seen it working really well. And I just think a lot of people abandon their exploitative style for the sake of a better GTO score, but that GTO score does not make you more money.
I would tend to agree overall. And then when you get to ICM, where you have two different risk premiums that you're looking at, there's different amounts of pressure, and then there's the whole in general, when you look at ICM sims, there's like smaller bet sizes on average, but then there are a bunch of spots where you just like shovel money in, like all in on the flop for protection too. And it's finding out these different spots is very tough. As far as GTO goes, I think people trying to approximate GTO is also a problem because they're not actually anywhere near. Or I
Yeah.
mean, they are near, but they're balancing for no reason. They're thinking about the wrong things, and they're not really playing against the human that they're up against. Uh, I would tend to agree with that. Like, I mean, the main one that gets brought up, and I think I saw a post from you the other day is just there are these spots where people just where I'm just like, yeah, I have a great bluff catcher, but you're not bluffing,
Yeah.
and like I
I
fold,
stole that
and
one. That was actually from Olivier Busquet. I found
yeah,
it such a
he's.
great quote. I printed it out and I sticked it on my computer.
Oh, I know the quote you're talking about too. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like
yeah,
you
I know exactly the quote
study
you're talking about.
all the solvers, blockers, being balanced, yada yada yada, all the bluff catchers, blockers, etc. But then your opponent simply does not bluff. And it was just this, the same. It was like, okay, you do all the hard work, but then it's like you're preparing for something that just doesn't exist. And the interesting part is that what most people completely ignore is like a small change in your opponent's strategy. And that's maybe they bluff a hand less, like literally just one hand.
Mm-hmm.
All your bluff catchers become minus EV. The same for
Yes.
a lot of the 3-bet spots on final tables of the short stacks. Let's say someone bluff 3-bets with 17, 20 big blinds. If they just 3-bet one or two hands too much and 3-bet 10% instead of 8%, you can start 4-bet jamming your entire range. And because
Yes.
people always think someone needs to be like a complete maniac for me to start adjusting. No.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you have to adjust. Otherwise, they exploit you. They steal your big blind too much. They steal your cutoff on hijack open raises too much. You got to play back, man. And this is where people also misunderstand that either they push it too far and apply it in the wrong spots, or they're not even aware of, and then I never win any tournaments, everyone else is so lucky. No, you suck. that's the thing. People just run
Yeah.
over you and you're not aware of it. And that's why, for example, with Raise Your Edge, we try really to prepare people for those. And I think once you understand that, how that works, and then obviously it's different in some of the spots, different stacks, etc., but the heuristic is the same. And then you
Well, yeah, and what you were talking about is a pretty common thing within ICM or within GTO or just the math in general. That is, when someone deviates
yeah
just a little bit, it goes real crazy, real
yeah
fast
yeah
to
yeah
100%.
yeah
What I'm doing actually, I have a course that I'm putting out soon. I know we're competitors. I don't
no
want to
no
plug
don't
too
worry,
hard,
it's fine.
but like, well, what I did was I think something kind of novel, which is we got a bunch of hands, and we got the players that had the most hands played. We looked them up, and one by one came up with the biggest winners, and it had to be over big sample size, not just one score, over 10% ROI, winning EV big blind per 100. And we separated the biggest winners from, I mean, my friends actually did this, Rob and another friend of mine, but they separated the biggest winners from the population and from the biggest losing regs. Not actually losing like whales, but the players who were
Yeah, I
losing
understand.
money
Yeah.
over a lot of hands. Now, I had a hypothesis. Maybe you could guess. What do you think that the biggest winners are doing overall? And my biggest winner sample was like up 30 something million, like they was just like, um, what
I
would you say? Like,
I would
we're talking about
guess,
general stats.
yeah, I would guess the winners fold a lot more to 3-bets. I would say they c-bet a lot more aggressively on the turn. I would say the open race in general loser. They just play overall more aggressive. And I would also say then it depends on the sample, like the river call efficiency, but also the river call in general is for the winners going to be smaller. And then with shorter stacks, I don't know how you guys have filtered it, but I think they're still battling and fighting a little bit more for pots when they have shorter stacks, like 10, 15, 20 big blinds. Min raise a lot more instead of just always open pushing. And they're just much better at preserving their stack, and also in general the 3-bet a little bit more of these smaller stacks as well. And yeah, just trying to fight for these spots. I also don't think they're necessarily that aggressive on the river. I think they are more aware of that people probably don't fold once it gets bad flop, bad turn, and are able also to give up hands more. I don't think I would be surprised if so. Maybe something I can learn there. If they have like it's such a big, let's say bigger river or higher river betting frequency than after flop and turn. I think in delay nodes probably they bet more, but if it goes bet flop, bet turn, bet river, they bet less. But let's say if there's any checks on flop and turn, they have a higher betting river frequency.
Oh yeah, river probe is like super high.
Yeah.
Well, my hypothesis before I looked at the data was that the biggest winners were going to be putting, in general, more volume of money in the pot as aggressors than GTO by at least a little bit, but would also defend less than GTO versus check raises versus 3-bets, things like that. And that turned out to be mostly correct. They don't bet as much on the turn as GTO is like 57%. It's pretty high.
After c-betting the flop. So like a second pair.
The flop in position. Yeah, they don't do it as much as GTO. But they 3-barrel similar amounts, but man, versus checks they go crazy.
Yeah.
But they also fold a lot more. They fold a lot more on turns, on rivers to 3-bets. 3-bet fold a lot more. Lots of attacking, but then backing away once they're showing aggression. The other thing that's interesting is that when they bet the river and get called, they're more aggressive than losing players, right? On the river, they are. But when they bet the river and get called, they win 10% more often than losing players too. So they're choosing the right rivers to bluff, choosing the right rivers to value bet. So it's not just like complete aggression. That's why
I like the river call efficiency. It shows you because someone can have a very high or very low, but if the lower one in terms of frequency has a higher river call efficiency, it shows you, but you need a bigger sample for that. It shows you how good this person is. It takes a lot, but for your own database, let's say for the last 3-4 years, it can give you a very good indicator of someone's ability to identify when should I bluff catch and when should I not. And
1.6 is the number, the
that's
RCE
pretty good for the winners.
That's what the winner. The winners are at 1.6, and it's actually roughly around what GTO's at. Losing players are about 1.5 over.
It gets closer to 1, and usually
you'd think, but you're never supposed to make a call below 1.
No, of course.
So in theory, it needs a good river call efficiency should be above, like right at 1 seems like you're probably calling too much. If you but that someone told me one time that the biggest winners at this one short stacked ante game all had river call efficiencies like really close to 1, but I don't believe it. I don't think it's actually. I think that 1.6 I think is a good bar. Or is a good one.
You have to look into I don't know which tracker you're using, because I've also sometimes seen different numbers, and then you have to look how is the stat build, right? Which situations are considered.
Yes.
This is very important as well. So it's hard to say without knowing the exact build of this stat. So for a very simple example is the 3-bet stat. But that's why I like to separate between 3-bet and non-all-in 3-bet. It shows me I only want to consider how someone is non-all-in 3-betting. Because people look at 3-bet as like, oh, it's very low. But this also considers going all in. Right? So if I look at non-all-in 3-bet, it's going to be a bit higher. Because obviously you go all in as a 3-bet significantly less than you would go, because with 80 big blinds, your 3-bet all in is going to be 0 point something.
Yeah.
And then if you have, let's say, non-all in 3-bet, let's say 10 or 12%, and you mix those two, your 3-bet is going to be 5% or 4%. You think, oh my God, this guy is tight. right? So very simple example, people do this mistakes of stats. That's why I like to see 3-bet and non-on 3-bet, but especially for deeper stacks, 30, 40, 50 big blinds, I want to see the non-on 3-bet.
Oh,
set
100%.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I didn't do as well, I mean, one of the things like that I did differently than the aggregate data of the winning players was actually like my 3-bet's like 9%, and I folded the 4-bet after non all in 3-bets something like only 36 or 37%, and the biggest winning players actually fold like something like 44% to 4-bets.
Yeah.
And so, but I actually kind of used that because I hate 3-bet folding. And like, sometimes I'll get that king 5 offsuit in the big blind versus the button. And I'm like, I think this is a good spot, but I don't want to 3-bet fold. But then I 3-bet and then they 4-bet jam on me. And I'm like, well, I got to get my 3-bet fold down a little, up a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like I'm using this data to help me psychologically get over the fact that I hate putting money in the pot and folding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I've changed is I recently I started to fold the 3-bets a bit more, and also 3-bet fold a lot more than I used to.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be aware of your weaknesses, and this also circles back on what I was saying at the beginning, that the notes I would use, and maybe it was real, and I would use extreme language. It's just because I was aware of my weaknesses, and it was hard for me to overcome it. So I had to say, okay, stop this nonsense, like, Ben, you idiot, you know, all these kind of things. And then also, okay, this motherfucker does not like this calling station, this beluga way, like, if someone feels offended by it,
it's funny.
I don't care. You know, it's like we play a game and it's allowed and whatever, right? Because like, how can you call someone like this? It's like, it's about their game. Like, Jesus, just chill out, right? And it really helped me. It really helps me to say, okay, look at this. Like, you're doing this wrong, and then I can optimize. I mean, today it's different. Today, I don't need this anymore. But back in the days, I was like, I kept doing the same mistake over and over again. And at the end of the day, if this is there, it's just because I was able to admit I suck at this spot and I need additional help. And yeah, okay, you might argue it's not optimal or whatever, but at least I have the ability to admit mistakes, to admit weaknesses, that I can't overcome it. And that was a good way for me to be more aware and being able to adapt and exploit. And on top of that, I was writing those lists. Man, I had a huge fucking logbook of all the things my opponents did back in the Sitting Ghost days, because we only had maybe 30, 40, 50 recs of these stakes. So I would have the notes in PokerStars weren't even enough. Like, I would have I needed to do it outside of the. So I started writing PDF, not PDF, Word documents with what everyone was doing. And then before my session, I would sit down. I was like, okay, what is everyone doing? Who's online? And I was like, prepare myself mentally. So I go in the session. I was like, okay, I know exactly what everyone is doing, and then just exploit. And that's also you see a lot of players then. That was also really good research for me when I would now start adjust to their style. And some wouldn't care. Some really wouldn't care. And others would really start counter adjusting. I remember, and with some recs, it would go to levels. It was insane. I remember, I don't know if you know this guy, Havana 85. I don't know if this.
I remember the screen name.
Yeah, he was a German living in England, and when I lived in Brighton, he came to one of our house parties, and he's like, "Yeah, by the way, I'm Havana 85." We're like, "I Bencb," and he was like, "I hated you," because he was playing a really good exploitative style. He was raising a lot. He was playing very aggressive 3-betting, and obviously I saw it in the stats. I took notes, and I kept 3-betting this guy. I kept reshoving on him. It's like. And I also told him I also hated you, because we noted that we both started trying to adjust. For a couple of months. You battle so hard, you play the most ridiculous hands. But the funny part is then it gets into this equilibrium where we started just let's chill against each other and start exploiting the other. It was really fascinating to see, and we were laughing about it. We had a good time. It was like,
And I was like, I knew what you were doing. He was like, I knew what you were doing. You know, the Spider-Man meme, and yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's really funny. When you also
Yeah,
start
no
when
doubt.
you meet those people then in real life, and you see a real person behind the screen name, because all I just connect this guy is with numbers. He had 20% race first in from early position, not an in race first in, with like 20 big blinds. And I was like, because he probably understood that people wouldn't attack the early position open races. So he just
Yeah,
said,
you should be able to shove pretty wide on that,
yeah, of
or
course.
three bet pretty wide.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah, of
just going
course.
completely mental, and then he realized that I was, and he started formatting jamming everything on me, and it was just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, that just sounds like man. I've got quite a few players like that where I have these like where we've had these stupid battle hands against each other, uh, but. And again, like it kind of goes back to what you were saying though. Like when you're playing against somebody, especially some random screen name, it's like these are my enemies. I hate them, you know.
yeah,
But you know, of course, if I meet this person in real life, I don't have
no,
no, how somebody plays poker is I don't I don't actually care. You know, like that has nothing to do with who they are as a human being.
yeah,
But when I'm in battle mode, I'm like, you motherfucker, you know, and
yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm glad that there's not a button I can press to like zap them or something because I might do it, you know. Um, but yeah,
What,
I definitely relate to all of that.
yeah, what would you say? What would you say was your lowest point in your poker career?
I kind of alluded to it earlier. Yeah, when
Was it
I
2009? What you
yeah,
mentioned?
well, no, actually, you know what? No, it was actually in Cabo. I was living in a house actually with one of the guys I was living right nearby was one of the guys that you had notes on from the sit and go. My boy Elio Smock, but uh, yeah,
Was it
in Cabo,
Smokehawk Flock?
yeah, that's Elio.
Ah,
But um, yeah, I was living there with Stevie and Dylan, and I I was not in a good place because of Black Friday, and I realize now that I do best when I have a roots. I have a home that I can like. I was traveling too much, and I was drinking a lot in Cabo, and you can go to the pharmacy and you can get whatever you want drug
Where is
wise.
this place, Cabo? Is it in Canada or Mexico? Or... Oh, it's
Mexico, yeah,
Mexico. Okay.
Cabo, yeah. And I was living in a house, and there's a bunch of poker players there, and
Mm.
basically I started taking a lot of different drugs to try to help me play, like Adderall and stuff. And long story short, I blew hundreds of thousands playing heads up against the best players in the world, uh, and barely remembered it. And like literally, my friends took my computer from me, Stevie and my friend Pat, and I was like, "Yo, give me my computer back." And Stevie was like, "I'll give it back to you if you can tell me what day it is." Because I had been up for
Is it
days
Steven
playing.
Chidwick, or someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I got the month wrong. He asked me. He said, "I'll give you your computer back if you can tell me what day it is." And I was so messed up at that point in time that I got the month wrong. I didn't even know where I was, and uh, and that was the first time that I went to rehab. After that, it was 2013, and I was abstinent for 9 years after that. Like, but I got into a hole where, yeah, where I was broke and I owed money, and yeah, I really was at a low point in my life there, and got help to go to rehab and stayed there for a while. And actually, it's funny you brought up Tony Robbins because that was one of the books that I read while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of his books. And when I got out, I kept in contact with everyone I owed money to, and I started coaching because I knew I still had a skill set in poker, and I played, but I coached more than I played to sort of build up a role and to pay people back. And immediately, first of all, my coaching business kind of took off, and then like I got more demand than I knew what to do with. then I started winning again because I was sober and really focusing on playing. And yeah, within a year, everyone actually within 6 months, everyone got paid back. And I had a good coaching business and life was good again. But I really lost my shit for a little bit. I went pretty crazy.
Were you
I
angry with
went ape
Stevie?
style. At that point in time, I was kind of like because they turned off the internet on me, and I was in the middle of an all in one time, but like no, not in the long run. I mean, they actually helped me out, like
But it was a pretty
you know,
drastic measure, right? For them, it's like, okay,
yeah, but they needed to, and the everything the proof is in the story, and yeah, I needed that to be severe. I was they even kind of got me a ticket to go to Vancouver, and man, I was in a bad spot then. That was actually a point in time in my life when I right before that I had made like a bunch of money. I was on a huge upswing right before Black Friday, and then I just lost it all.
yeah.
Going crazy.
Were they trying before to talk to you? It's like, hey man, like take it chill, don't play
Oh,
these
oh
games. Yeah. And they
yeah.
realized this ain't helping, so we gotta take more drastic measures.
Yeah, they were like, "Listen, I don't know if you should play these games if you're sober." You're like, I mean, I'm there drinking, taking, smoking, taking drugs, playing against, playing two through 5K heads ups and even PLO that I barely even know how to play, and you know, that cocktail of drugs made me have this crazy super ego where I thought, and then I realized I was in trouble, but then I was like, I need to get this money back somehow.
Mm.
And yeah, I really fell into a deep hole in that situation. And the only way that I got out of it was, uh, through sobriety, taking a look at things, and yeah, teaching really helped. And
Mm.
then again, being systematic like I had been throughout my life. The majority of my adult life, I actually have been sober. Like and the majority of my poker career where I've done well, I've actually been like completely alcohol, drug free, and it's because, uh, yeah, if I get any alcohol in my system, it's sort of like disaster is imminent at some point.
Mhm.
So that's why I don't do it now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
I got some great friends there. Are you still in touch with Stevie until today?
Oh yeah. Oh
Mm.
yeah. 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 Uh, Steven and I, Stevie. It's funny calling it like he just Stevie to me, but like everyone, Steven Chidwick. He and I, we used to. This is like 2008, 2009. We used to trade 25% of our action, like completely, and it was actually during like one of my best years. And Stevie was getting his ass kicked online, even though he had done very very well in sit and goes.
Yeah,
And
he
I remember
was.
I started calling it the Stevie tax because I kept winning and having to send him my 25% over. But I didn't mind because I lived with him and I talked with
Yeah.
him about poker, and a lot of the ways that I was winning was just listening to him. And I actually realized back then that he was smarter and better than me at poker.
Mm.
Um, Also, that motherfucker, anytime we play a video game with each other or try a new game out, he was always just a little bit better than me. Uh, but yeah, he's a really smart guy and also really good with games.
Yeah.
So I was really privileged to be able to have uh, good friends and also really good poker friends
Mm.
that taught me a lot about how
Yeah.
to look at the game as well as looked after me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if every iteration of me in the world would have been successful in poker. If there was 1,000 Johns, uh, oh, how many of them would have kind of gotten to where I've gotten. Because I've definitely fallen into a lot of traps in poker.
But the way I always see that is, why did you become friends with him in the first place? Why did he even bother spending time with you?
Game recognized game, you know? And like we talked poker, we talked life, you know, and
Yeah, but he must
I
have
mean,
seen something in you that he's like, hey man, I really like this
yes,
guy. I enjoy spending time with him. And then at some point it was his duty or responsibility, or he felt he owed you. Right, this is what a friendship is about. It's like, I'm gonna help him.
yeah,
Or
and sometimes I honestly being a good friend sometimes means telling your friends, hey, you're fucking up. Like
yeah.
and like it's not that easy to do. But when, you know, in that situation, it was what I needed. And honestly, right at that point in time, I just wanted them to leave me alone and let me keep doing my thing,
Of
you know.
course.
But I, looking back, you know, I thanked all of them and have, you know, apologized too for what I put them through.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why like I'm in you know I'm in recovery and uh sometimes people who also have drug and alcohol problems have come to me and been like, hey, can you teach me poker? And I'm like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Like because uh hard no there, because there are just too many ways that can go wrong for you.
Mm.
And I think with poker, the way to succeed, the person that I bet on in poker is somebody who has a system around poker, does the same thing, is really good with bankroll management, game selection, and I wouldn't bet on somebody who has a lot of talent and drive, but who also does things like plays heads up sit and goes that are pretty much unbeatable, you know? uh,
Um, wait, I think my mic. Let me just repeat that. What I was saying is, a lot of viewers might be hearing this and say, well, I'm not so lucky. I don't have such great friends, and fall into this victimhood mentality. What I truly believe in, it was your doing that got you into the place to have a friend like this in the first place. Whatever the traits were, it attracted this kind of friends that once they met, they also wanted to spend time with you. They saw that you're genuine, that they can trust you. You also have a lot of value. And value not always in terms of expertise or money. Like when people hear, I don't have any value. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is, hey man, just with your nature, you can be a fantastic, but a lot of my friends aren't like super successful people. Yeah, a lot of them have their own businesses. Obviously, it attracts, or they're also poker players. But I also hang around with a lot of buddies, and I really enjoy spending time with them because, and they have like a normal 9 to 5 business. Just I can trust them. They're just genuinely great people. We can rely on each other, and that's it. And this is what you should ask yourself. It's not that difficult to be a great friend. And you probably give something off where people want to stay away. Maybe you're not trustworthy. Maybe you come across as leeching. And yeah, then nobody wants to spend time with you. You don't need to be very knowledgeable. You don't need to be well spoken. It's just sometimes, you have a dude, you just enjoy being around them. They just respect you for who you are. You don't need to justify something. They accept you the way you are. But they can also, show you the limits and say, like, listen, man, like, you're going off the wrong path. And this is the kind of people I want to have in my life. And I think especially for us, man, we're
yes.
pretty simple there. We're not like very complex creatures. But we're very stubborn when it comes to that. And what I'm saying is that I think you have done extraordinarily well to this point to have these people in your life, someone like Stevie. That was your doing and nobody else. And that's why I want people to take full responsibility and accountability if they're in this point in their life where it's like, oh, but I don't have someone. Well, it's your fault. Then get your ass off and start looking for those kind of people and be a good friend. right? Whether it starts on online forums and Discords, engage with people, then have an online chat, like a user-to-user coaching, get to know them, maybe chit-chat. And yeah, you're going to meet people who don't have your best interests of heart, who are trying to take advantage of you. But then, okay, next, let me get to know. You have to put yourself out there in the grind of also getting to know people. And if you're shy, okay, then get over it. Jump into the cold water. It'll be fine. Funny story.
I think you're right there. I mean, and I appreciate that. I also did. I was really active on forums when I first started too, and I really liked to share my opinion, and I had many posts, and was always reaching out to people. That was part of why I had a really nice network back then too.
Yeah.
It was, people were more open though back then with knowledge, like on 2+2 and Pocket Fives. But yeah, I do think the other thing is being a friend without expectations, just being someone that just, tries to be useful, non-judgmental, and accountable with your friends.
Yeah.
I do think goes a really long way, and not trying to get something out of your friends.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think when you have someone in your circle where you see just harming himself through drugs, through addictions, and as you said, I had these two groups. When COVID hit, I had a coaching group, and I was through YouTube. I don't know if you've seen, where I said, okay, I know it's shit times, people are isolated, and I was doing like mentoring groups for free, and I said, I'm going to do this thing, you can apply here. And I was trying to get as many people into the group who were really at a point where, lost their jobs or whatever, and like got their loan and addictions. And we had 2 iterations of this. The first group, and we still have some of the recorded calls here on YouTube. And there was one, and outside of that, we had a lot of group calls, where I was just giving them the stage, like, tell what's going on, and let's try to help each other. Like similar to what you had in the house, but just in a digital space. And we didn't have the time. We weren't really close friends. And I also had to kick out people. I remember there was one guy, we were like 10 or 15 people. There was one guy came into the call and was eating pizza. And I said, listen, my friend, like, this is very disrespectful. We're here to work hard, to overcome whatever. And you just imagine, like, just think of yourself, of what you're portraying to these people. I kicked him out of the call. I kicked him immediately out of the group. And I also said, I don't really think you have really learned what it means to understand boundaries. A couple of days later, he messaged me saying, Ben, I actually really appreciate it. I never had someone like really telling me until here, not further. Because, and I think I understand that it might come across as harsh, but the whole purpose of it, I take my time. It's like, I want to, and people know what I stand for. Like, okay, let's sit down, talk about shit, let's get better, let's help each other, support each other, no more bullshit, whatever it is. And obviously you have people in there that were also overweight. You could see it. Some of them were overweight, they couldn't go to the gym, some people had addictions, some people lost their jobs, like all sorts of different people. And you sit there eating a freaking pizza. I said, you're not meant for this group, man. Get your shit together. And this is what I mean, just be a decent human. I don't care how much money you have in your bank account, how much poker experience you have. Just be there and sense the situation. And I think some people have it and some people need to learn it. But if nobody really shows you your boundaries, you're never going to learn it. And that's why I really like your story, because the more group calls we had, you know what pattern came out? And I asked them the question, and almost all of them who were in the situation, they said they did not have a friend who said stop, who said they wish there would be someone who says no. Like addiction, you go to a friend, hey man, can you borrow me $50 or $100? Yeah, sure. Like always trying to be nice. I don't think those are real friends. Yeah. And all of them said, I wish I would have someone who's like, listen man, stop this shit, here PC, I'm gonna lock it in the other room, go to rehab, do this. Just trying to be like, I can't help you anymore, like setting the limit until here, no further. I think this is what a good friend is. And I remember, and also with the second group call, and then we had Discord channels, and people, I encourage people, have your vlogs, start writing about your journey, check out the other vlogs, so you help each other, so you take on a coaching role. It's like, also be active in the other, help with their issues, right? Because everyone has their own issues, and there might be something that you overcame that you can help the others. And some of them started doing much better. I'm not saying it fixes any of the problems, but I think it's one of the things that can really help you is to have people that just say, no more, stop until here. And sometimes it's throwing the computer out of the window because
Yeah, I would agree. I think that I actually suffer a little bit from being a people pleaser sometimes, instead of just like saying exactly what I mean and what I believe, because I don't want to hurt feelings.
of course it's
But
normal.
I'm getting much better though at delivering hard truths when like, not to hurt somebody but to help them,
Yeah.
right? And I also do think that online poker, it's not it kind of, especially during COVID, people are very isolated, right? And I think that it's really helpful if you're in online poker. I don't see you right now.
Wait 1 second.
do-
What happened? You see, is it loading or?
oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it's also really good to have a group of friends that keep you accountable about poker, if it's in online poker, but friends that you can also be open with and honest about when
Yeah.
you're going through something as well. I think the two are not different, right? Like, I think that um, people that you can be real with, but that will also be real back with you, you know. And
Yeah.
uh, that's what I think a lot of people who, are playing online poker in these tiny little rooms or their parents' basement or whatever are possibly missing, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So how are you today with your what the issues you had with sobriety? Is it, would you say you're in a good place or?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, for me, things didn't ever get quite out of control as they were in Cabo.
Mhm.
For me, like, but before they did, I decided to go to treatment myself and have that time out. I think I don't know. I like adult summer camp. That's
You
what
like
I
what?
view treatment. Adult summer camp.
What
That's
is
kind of
that?
what treatment is. Well, that's what treatment is. It's not really. You have to work. But the thing is, it's usually a nice setting. There's a gym. You meet other people who are going through stuff. You're open with your emotions.
Yeah.
You usually push things. You try things. I for me, having, it's not even just rehab. I like having a retreat from everything for like a month, where I can completely detox, and having that to reset myself
Mm.
has really been helpful for me. And that's where I'm at right now. Where and the other thing is, like, I don't know, at 44, if I don't really start paying attention to my health, it's not going to get easier, you know. So like,
Yeah.
I've really, I'm back on the beam. I was off the beam for a little bit, and I'm back on it, I'd say.
What do you think something in society is misunderstood or maybe underestimated or overrated when it comes to getting over these issues? What would you say actually people think this is important, but it's actually not that important? There's actually something else. If you really want to get out of an addiction or whatever it is, for you personally, this has really helped me that people might not be so aware of.
I think that for a lot of people think like, oh, it's a matter of willpower, or,
Mm,
oh, come on, you can easily just have one drink. And I
okay.
just think for some people, even though it seems like you should be able to just have one, or just like,
Yeah.
for some people, there's something, the wiring is off, and it's not really like,
It's all in
I've
or
done a
nothing,
lot of things.
basically.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and for me, that has been my story, and it's part of why I've done such inexplicable things. And uh, part of it, though, I have to say, is, even though I've fallen pretty far, I actually, part of me thinks that maybe a little part of me might have wanted to do it, because I
To do
like
what?
to up
To do the
to
rehab or to take
to
this?
have my back up against the wall,
Oh, okay, I
to
see.
really be in a, like, because sometimes I'm like,
Interesting.
why did I do this crazy shit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that a little part of me likes to up the level of difficulty in life, and likes to battle back. And if I hadn't had these downs, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get my shit together, get disciplined, have, make big changes in my life.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes having setbacks is actually a blessing,
Yeah.
because if everything just always goes like this, you don't learn.
Well, maybe
So
try out the workout. I was already put yourself some West on, additional weights, go for walks, runs, lifts, and maybe see, yeah, putting myself deliberately in those workouts on a rock bottom, so you don't have to do it in real life, man.
I like
Maybe.
that, man. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I got. That's what I got to do next. Man, I don't know if I need extra weights on me to run. If I just getting my ass out running right now is gonna be.
Or just walking uphill or something. I mean, it doesn't need to be running,
I've,
right? I also already find
I'm
this.
on a huge hill. I actually that's what I've started doing, is getting my steps in and going up and down the hill.
Yeah.
For the cardio, I've already lost actually in like 2 months. I've lost like 10 pounds. So I definitely am on that on the right path at the moment. Not perfect, I'll still
Yeah.
eat some pizza every once in a while, but I for the most part, I'm really watching what I'm putting in my body right now,
Mhm.
and uh, trying to pack my days full of spots where I'm either getting, learning something, or I'm being useful to other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is
I understand.
a good jump from where I was at.
Yeah.
So
Sorry to derail that part. I didn't mean to be disrespectful to that journey, because I think it's a very important question, and I didn't let you finish your thought when it came to, well, what helped you to get out of it? What helped you? You said willpower is kind of like overrated. It's not so easy, because very often if you just have some drink, right? That's what you said. Just one drink, it triggers something. Something is not properly wired. So was it for you to learn to really say no? And what would you say helped you the most to get to this point where you're just able to say absolutely no, and you realize you really, because I think obviously a lot of people that are in the city, they know you don't need to tell them this is bad, don't do this. But then their triggers, their habits, whatever it is, brings them back to taking a sip, and then they start drinking the entire bottle and for the next day. So what is it that helped you to really make this switch to say, I just stay away from it?
it has to be like a shift in a lot of different ways, right?
Mm.
Like I wake up, and one of the first things I do is read quotes from the Stoics, Buddhism.
Mm.
Uh, like I really try to get inspired from the beginning of my day. Um, and like along with that, I try to reach out to people who also are sober, and uh, within recovery, I try to work with people, and
Help them like
if
as a
yeah,
mentor, kind of. Okay.
if I yeah, not yet, because I'm still pretty young, but that's what I did in the past.
Mm.
And you can be of service to other people,
Yeah.
like from the very beginning, like just finding little ways to help, and little like doing things to be doing like kind and helpful things without expecting anything back, has just little shifts like that, and also changing people, places, and things a bit is important. um but yeah, the main thing for me is doing something physical different, doing meditation, readings, um, and then also service, doing things to get outside of myself.
Mm.
And I have to do all of that if I want to stay strong. like,
Yeah.
and if I stop doing that, and if I start just focusing on me completely again, eventually I I end up drinking usually,
Yeah.
and um, it takes work, I think, but I'm happier when I do all those things too.
It sounds like you're trying to give your day, your life, meaning to
Yes.
yourself,
and to others.
Yeah, and I also think that you know, I think I also had this false belief at one point in time that like I could control how I feel all the time, you know,
Yeah.
and um, part of being, you know, not drinking and stuff is just when you don't feel very good sometimes, sitting with it, experiencing it, and realizing that it passes.
So you just
You
sit
know,
there and you just like, okay, let's just go through the feeling and what I think, what I feel, what I.
yeah.
How long was it?
I try to just experience it and don't run from it, and usually it goes away.
Really?
You
And how
know,
much time does it take for it to go away? What would you say? 10 minutes, 3 hours?
depends on what it is, you know.
Okay.
But a lot of the times for me, I'll do a meditation where I'll sit at something, and I'll have a certain like I'll be feeling anxious about something or stressed about something, and I'll just look at it, and I'll be interested in whatever that, like, you know, I'll be like, okay, I feel this anxiety in my chest, and I'll just breathe into it. Breathing is really helpful too. Diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just taking a second to breathe and feel
Not
emotion
escape from it.
and
We feel something
exactly.
unpleasant, we take the phone, social media, just like being with this unpleasant feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, not always, but if I look at it and I address it and I'm curious about it, that it turns into something else eventually,
Yeah.
you know. But it's a trick too. I can't be looking at it hoping it goes away. I have to just be with it,
Yeah.
and then it does go away.
Interesting. And
Man, it's. Go ahead. Sorry.
no. Finish your thought.
Oh no. I was honestly I was just gonna tell you it's 3 a.m. here. So
Oh.
I'm
No, we can come to the end. I know it's late for you. We were so much different time zones, so either it's going to be very early for you or very late. They were the only slots that are available. So I
It works for
appreciate.
me. It worked for me. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I like the way that you look at things. Um, you're mhm, mhm.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
just
could not do it alone.
yeah,
Um,
and I see that. I think this is again the framework we have. In this framework, obviously it's quite individual, but if you ignore this framework, like for example, you really don't have anybody in your life that can say no, and this is just one step. It's an important step. I'm not saying this is the magic pill, like as you've said, as you just explained it. There's so much hard work just and sitting there and going through that unpleasant feeling. I think it's extraordinarily difficult. I can see this on a much smaller magnitude. It's like have a terrible business meeting, someone pisses me off, and you have all this anger or maybe entitlement, and then you just take your phone. Okay, let's just go through some stupid Instagram reels, and you distract yourself, or all these kind of things. Some people do it with food, or you watch porn or whatever it is. Like
yes,
this is the escapism is so much um, easier to access than it was 20 years ago. There obviously are
yes,
different challenges, like life became more comfortable. And you can really, if you use the tools the right way, it can really make your life more efficient, effective, happier. But at the same time, it's also our downfall for a lot of people. Because 20
I
years, if
agree.
you felt in a certain way, there was nothing like, okay, you have to walk to a video store to get a DVD, walk back, and by the time you went through it, probably all the negative shit went away already because you had to go for a walk. There was no phone. Or I remember when I would go to school with the tram, you just sit there for 20 minutes, and sometimes whatever you said, your anger or something, just by sitting and all right, you would look outside at the trees, right? So it was, I think, and I think also the numbers prove that in terms of all these mental health issues, they go up
over the last, right? So this is obviously, I'm not necessarily saying this is the core issue, but it's at least an amplifier
Oh,
that
I think
makes it
so.
worse.
I think
right?
so. Two things about that. First is for me, I have that addictive or that desire to escape. Run from painful things, run to
Yeah.
pleasure. And I have to watch anything that's pleasurable. I can have a bad relationship, a messed up relationship with sex, food, whatever, right? Like internet scrolling. And I also have to say that when I went 80 days without my phone at all, and
When
I
was that?
felt when I went to rehab,
Okay.
like
Were
in
they
2013.
Did they quote
Uh,
unquote force you to give up your phone,
yeah,
or you
yeah,
okay?
you have to.
Okay.
And I felt great. I felt really good. Like at first there was a detox from it,
Of course.
but then after that you're more present because the thing about the phone is real life starts to seem not like I can look up my phone and play a game. I can all these things that I can I can Google myself and see this. I all this stuff is like you know hits your receptors, and real life starts to seem kind of meh, boring. Compared to the phone, I think.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, and I'll tell you what, I don't want to give up my phone. I still use it a lot, but when I was forced to not use it, um, my overall serenity, just peace of mind, and everything was higher
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm with you.
A lot of great minds, successful people always recommend once or twice a year go somewhere for a week, 2 weeks in nature, be alone with yourself, just disconnect. And I have to say, I haven't done it now in 2 years. I think the last time I was alone in the woods for a week, I was alone in Iceland. I had vacations where I deliberately deleted all social media stuff, literally only WhatsApp on the phone to take pictures. That's it. No Discord, no nothing. Yeah, and I agree. I felt the greatest. Also, I was the most creative. It constantly, I was on the beach just, all right, let's enjoy the water. And yeah, it takes a day or two, maybe for some less, for some longer, but you really get used to it. And also, what is really interesting is that I got answers to questions of, okay, it's clear, right? Sometimes in your life, do I want to do this? Do I want to work with this? What are the next projects? And you want to do this. I really want to do this now. And it's like, why? Like, and you can't explain it. And I understand. Sorry, I can't give you the answers. You just have to try it for yourself. Because when I was reading a lot of books, and this was a very consistent pattern that people would say, just be alone and let the magic happen. And yeah, it's magic. It's crazy. And you just had simple tasks. The 1 week when I was in the woods, it's just I had to go get water in the morning from a farm nearby, walk back with the water, like a bucket. I used this for a shower. I had to cut wood. I had to go do groceries. And these were the tasks for the day. And in between, you would just maybe go for a walk. You would journal. You would read. I also have this, by the way, on my YouTube channel, if you guys are interested in watching this, also when I was in Iceland. And just these mundane tasks become exciting. Oh, all right, gotta go for a walk to the farm. Maybe I see a cow. And you start enjoying those things the same or very similar to as if you would enjoy the dopamine hits from social media. But this was for me the biggest impact, and I will start doing this again. But sometimes, life happens and get busy. It's like, first I finish this, I do this, and then I go, and then it's a year later, and you still didn't go, and you keep postponing it. But man, the answers you get, it's incredible. The creativity, new projects. Oh, let's make this video, let's make this course. Also for your job, it's really, really good. It's actually really productive for your work. Can highly recommend that.
Meditation actually is weird like that for me too.
Yeah.
Where I'll be thinking about something over and over again, and then I'll have silence and meditate, and then the answer will pop up when I'm not thinking about it. I actually did 2 separate 10-day silent retreats where I didn't speak.
Oh, is it these? How's it called? Vapissimo or Vapisana? Vapisana. Yeah. I've never. I always pronounce it the wrong way. But you did it twice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sick.
The first time was I did them both during my 9 years of continuous sobriety, and I did a lot of different like adventures like that, like sweat lodges and uh, retreats, and uh, the first time I did the 10-day silent retreat was actually very difficult. I almost left because it was like being stuck with my brain, but there the second time was a lot easier. And there is something nice about knowing, like that was actually something that was really helpful for me, was knowing I've got nothing to do tomorrow except for sit, eat, and meditate. But man, it's not as easy as it might seem though. It's intense.
But were you considering quitting?
I guess I'll tell the story. Uh, you start with this breath meditation and you do it
Yeah.
all day long, and on like day 3 I got hit with just like the most intense sadness, loneliness I'd ever felt in my life. Like, and it felt physical. Like it was like I thought I'd been drugged, even though I was eating vegetarian food and just drinking water all day. And it was so painful that I was like crying. And I went to the teacher, and I'm like, I gotta go, man. Like this is. You can talk to the teacher. And I was like, and the teacher was like, in my opinion, you're doing a great job. And
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? I'm like crying. I'm dying here. And the teacher was like, well, this kind of meditation, there's these things called sankharas, and it's sort of like the stuff that you've pushed down emotionally in you. And this meditation, if you do it a lot, these emotions come to the surface, and it's like pouring water on coals. At first, lots of steam and smoke, whatever comes up. But then if you keep doing this, eventually there's no more.
Yeah.
And he's and luckily they if you really want to go, you can go. People did go, but they do rope off the cars,
What
and
does
they
it
make
mean?
it a big they like the parking lot, like when you go there, they make it hard for you to leave, like it's like locked, right?
Oh, really?
So
Because
I
so
mean,
many people quit or try to quit,
yeah.
or
So basically, it's like he's like, well, I can do it, but we have to do this, and you have to, And he was like, how about you just try to stay one more night, you know? And
okay.
then the next day, I still felt kind of messed up, but I felt better than the day before, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And by the end of it, I could have gone another 10 days.
Yeah.
Uh, and I had a lot of really interesting experiences and a lot of really mundane experiences because you can't read. So I mean, I was reading my shampoo bottle just to, turn my brain off. But uh, that experience was also really good for me because it was so painful that I started to it gave me empathy for what other people can feel like other people's sadness, other people's loneliness, because I'd never experienced anything like that with to that kind of magnitude. And also, some moments were actually really pleasurable too of that 10 days, but a lot of it was a grind.
I can
And
imagine.
in my
Yeah.
head, yeah, I went through the plot of Game of Thrones in my head. I went through the plot of Star. I was uh, trying so hard to not be stuck with myself at times.
Yeah.
And you start to see your own like repetitive mental patterns and things like that too.
Yeah.
So it's intense overall, but
Yeah.
man, and once I could talk and was back in real life, everything was so much, man. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of hard. It was actually
I
kind of a
was
difficult transition.
considering for, but I always found excuses not to go. I did similar retreats, but like obviously it was way less strict than that. But yeah, because there's no talking at all, right? Like, or for
Only the teacher. That's
the
the cheat.
teacher, yeah. Sick,
Uh,
man.
that was my cheat, man. Is that you can sign up to talk to the teacher, and I did that on a lot of days.
Yeah.
The first time.
What was the hardest part? Would you say the meditation, maybe the food, because I think it's also very restricted. The
I was so worried.
silence.
Just
Getting up early for a
honestly,
poker player, you have to get up very early. Like the sleep in the room with others. Like, what was the most difficult part? What would you say?
oh man, there were a couple things. Man, I was so worried about the food the first time that I almost snuck in like my own like potato chips and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Do
and my
they
buddy,
check you? Do they like a security scan if you bring
not,
anything in?
not really, like a little bit, but not really.
Okay.
It's actually free, technically, because they
Yeah.
want you to come in as a beggar.
Yeah.
But my buddy on the way up, I actually literally had snacks I was gonna bring, and he was like, "Dude, if you're gonna do this, you should do what they say. You should experience it as they do it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine." And I'll be honest with you, I had some nights where I was up, just stuck, unable to go to sleep, and not feeling great. But food was not on my mind.
Okay,
I
interesting.
actually realized that most of what I thought was hunger is actually just my desire to distract myself with something pleasurable.
Okay.
And food wasn't that hard, even though in the second time you're not even allowed to eat past noon. First time you're allowed to, but the second time, as a returning student, you can't. The other thing that's kind of funny is, man, because it's so quiet, like everyone snores, and the other thing is, I had a room the first time that was next to the bathroom, and you could hear like,
Okay.
yeah.
With how many people you were sleeping in the same room?
Only only two in the place I went to. Two or three was pretty much it, but the walls were thin.
That would be my biggest. I'm the biggest princess when it comes to sleep. I need it dark. I need it cold. This is something I blame my parents in a positive way. We would sleep with winter outside, -10, all windows open. It would be so cold in the rooms. And I also got used to it. I also love sleeping in cold. But like sometimes when we would go on trips and we would select rooms, I need someone who really likes it cold. Luckily in Germany amongst our friends, because it's just very common. But like if it's a little bit too warm, I just can't sleep.
I have my house at night. I keep it, I think Celsius, 18 Celsius, 65 degrees Fahrenheit is what I keep it in my house. And people complain about how cold it is, but for me, I need it to be cold. And under a blanket, cold is nice, is the way to go. The sleep was difficult without a doubt, and I am the same way. Luckily, the first time I was there, my roommate was pretty good. But I actually, okay, so you're supposed to wake up at 4 a.m. And there was this guy who was a keener.
What?
Like, man, he was, keener. Like, he was just really enthusiastic about being there. And he was like, man, I'll tell you, the best meditation is at 4 a.m. You have to make the 4 a.m. because you're actually allowed to kind of skip that one. And I listened
and sleep a bit longer than in
yeah, okay. You're allowed to skip that one. At least where I was, I did skip that one. Because I went the first couple days and I was like grumpy and falling asleep in the meditation and like staring at him with like anger in my eyes. like, this motherfucker got me here and I just need to be, I want to be in bed. What do I got to wake up at 4 a.m. to meditate when all we do all day long is meditate for like 10 hours? So no, I have to admit that I actually, after trying it twice, did not wake up at 4. I woke up at 6, which is still pretty early, but no.
Yeah.
Maybe for him the 4 a.m. was the best, but for me, no. I'm not a morning person anyway, so
yeah. I know it's very late for you. I would like to wrap up the podcast with 3 deep but short questions. Obviously, take your time to think about it. I think it's also a great way to get the viewer, get to know you even better. The first one, if you had to sum up your life so far in a single lesson, what would it be?
to not take myself so seriously, or that would be the lesson I would tell myself in the past. And I would say my life goal is to just affect more people positively than I affect negatively. Uh, to have had positive impact on the people around me.
That's such a poker answer. Trying to be Placidis for society, I guess.
Yep, pretty much. Yep.
Oh man, great, fantastic, love it. The second one: what truth about life did you learn far too late?
I've learned a lot of things from experience, like touching my hand on the hot stove. Honestly, there are a couple. I'd say one is actually the value of a dollar. Like for a long time, I didn't actually respect money, and I was flashy with money, or I overspent. And while I still do like nice things, I respect money now, and I try to be frugal and humble about it. Like I no matter how much money I have, I don't want to be the kind of person that people that shows off my money.
Yeah.
And because when I first started making money in poker, I thought I was like superstar rapper, like I bottle service and
Yeah.
Rolex and all that. And so I would say that mistake, obviously, have to keep learning that I'm not meant to drink. And uh, I'm gonna go back to the same one, is that I'm not that important. My problems are not that significant.
Great, love it. And the last one: if the people who know you best had to describe you in one sentence, what would you hope they would say?
Uh, honestly, I wish that I hope that they're going to say that I'm fun and funny and that I'm kind. But they're probably going to say I'm like a chaos gremlin. Um, but I think that overall that I'm a genuine person, that I care about my friends. But I'm also a bit intense and chaotic. That's what they probably would say.
Well, life is intense and chaotic, so
Yes.
great, love it. Any last words that you would like to get out before we wrap it up?
Not too many. No, I've appreciated talking to you and getting to know you better, Ben. And yeah, I almost want to ask you those same questions, because those are tough questions, man. But nah, appreciate anyone who's here watching. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, I got to get to bed pretty soon. It's 3:30 over here.
All right, have a good night. We wrap up the podcast. If you guys have any other questions for Mr. Apestyles, then drop it in the comments, and see you guys soon.